Continuing in the vein of shareware games, we have Raptor, Call of the Shadows. But instead of downloading an abandonware version many years later, my older brother purchased the full version while it was still popular. Published in 1994 by Apogee Software, now known as 3D Realms, the people behind The Rise of the Triad, Duke Nukem, and Commander Keen. There's not much in the way of story here, just that you're a mercenary tasked with
destroying Megacore's competitors.
But video games from this era weren't really known for being story-driven. Raptor is a 2D top-down scrolling plane shooter. Gameplay is broken up into 3 missions: Bravo Sector, Tango Sector, and Outer Regions. Each of these missions is subdivided into 9 levels called waves, 27 levels altogether. Each level has a boss at the end, and some of the later levels have mini-bosses partway through. The locations you travel to start off as pretty standard fare, but become more exotic as you progress. You can play through the different missions in any order, and they can be replayed an infinite number of times, with the difficulty increasing with each subsequent playthrough. And you don't have to complete an entire mission before choosing a different one either. Whichever mission you choose will go to the next wave that hasn't been completed. If you've already beat the final wave, you'll go back to wave 1 at the next difficulty level. Choosing autopilot will automatically load the next wave in the mission you last played. But you should probably start with Bravo Sector if you don't want to get slaughtered. Everything you blow up gives you money, and some enemies will drop items that give you additional money. After each wave, you'll be able to visit the shop where you can buy or sell weapons and health. Many of the different upgrades are collectible by destroying pods on the ground or cargo ships. Apparently they have the same technology as Novastorm that allows you to install upgrades while flying, while some can only be purchased at Harold's Death Emporium?
Frylock, come on. You really gonna call it that?
Well, yeah.
You start off with just a machine gun, but you can later purchase a plasma cannon and micro missile that always fire alongside your main weapon, which can be switched out on the fly. That literally, cause you're flying. Whee! Each of the main weapons behaves differently, and some enemies have weaknesses to certain weapons. Some of the weapons you can get are air-to-air missiles, which fire directly ahead but only hit other planes. Air-to-ground missiles, same thing, but they only hit ground targets such as tanks, boats, turrets, and monkeys that throw at you! When I told my brother I encountered these guys, he didn't believe me. Now I have video evidence! You believe me now? They were real! I'm not crazy! Wait, who are you? What are you doing? No, don't take me! I'm not crazy! Somebody help! Dumbfire missiles, which will hit air and ground targets, but can't really be aimed. The bomb, which does splash damage every time you destroy a ship. The missile pod, which fires a cluster of missiles directly forward, but only affects air targets. Power disruptor, which prevents certain ships from attacking when they get hit with it. The pulse cannon, which fires a wave forward that hits air and ground targets. The auto-track minigun, which auto-targets multiple air and ground enemies at a time. Ideal for boss fights, but not much else since it does minimal damage.
6.5 hours later.
The laser turret, which is a lifesaver. It will auto-target air enemies and does decent damage. The death ray, which fires a laser that hits air and ground targets and does considerable damage. And the twin laser, which is the same thing times 2. You also have a few power-ups you can buy or find. Energy module, which is the game's version of health. Ion scanner, which displays a health bar for bosses. The phase shield, which functions as an extra health bar. You can only purchase a maximum of 5, but it is possible to get more than 5 if you find one in the level. And the mega bomb, which will clear all the enemies on the screen. Before selecting your mission, there's these weird buttons you can press on the bottom which seem to cause different enemy waves to appear. Since my brother never messed with these, that might be why he didn't believe me. No, that was in the past. It's in the past. I was killed! The shareware version only lets you play the Bravo sector and the best weapons weren't available, as well as a cheat code. If you press the backspace button, it gives you a death rate but resets your money and inventory, so it's only useful at the beginning of a new game. You can take it one step further and hit it multiple times to get a maximum of 18 death rays, then go and sell them and have enough money to buy all the upgrades after the first level. Not sure if that's what the developers intended, but you're already cheating, so why not go big? When I initially wrote the script for this video, this game was still abandonware. Now, it's no longer abandonware and there's a remastered version that can be purchased on Steam or GOG. I haven't played these versions, but they look pretty much the same as the original, just some improvements to sound, graphics, and playability on modern machines. It's a simple but enjoyable game that's not the punishing difficulty games from that era were known to have. I highly recommend you try either the original DOS version or Steam version of Raptor: Call of the Shadows.